speaking tonight on the eve of the, I believe it's just turned the 4th of October 2021. And it is a night to be celebrated. This is a very joyous night, My good friend and still partner in some affairs of artistic and cultural endeavours, Eric, is 5 years clean of the Tinkerbells today. And this is no easy feat, and you've heard Clarence speak about these things before, and he's always very proud to know this man. And it is wonderful that Eric is on his way and is such a key figure in especially Clarence's life, but I know very well to be more than he knows is important in many other people's lives, and it is fantastic that such people like him are still with us today. But there is a sad nature at hand, which I will get onto. It is the world is not looking so hot right now. It really isn't. When I first came broadcasting from the official lady as Clarence came living here, it was giggling at times as high merriment, joviality, and gaiety in the oldest sense of the word. I was singing carols, and I think you remember I was at the Reggae and Cheese Festival in Belarus even. Belarus wasn't even not too damaging. But then things slowly turned sour, and they have gone sour. Clarence is still here, Clarence is still healthy, and like most people on the planet, I have had very minimal contact or any involvement with the coronavirus. I probably know a couple of people who have had the coronavirus, and I know no one I know of in my circles, or quite distant circles, nobody we know of has died directly of coronavirus. I have had other people sadly die this year, one drunk to death, one suicide to death, 2 suicides to death, and one from cancer, but not corona. So in my Clarence's realm, which I am governor of, because I can be, I'm really thinking about putting out the Serious Health Act. I'm thinking about looking after people who are thinking about committing suicide, and that's the main one. It turns out in the Council of Clarence, but these suicides were brought on by an outer issue from an exterior body who were freaking out about a thing called corona. So this freak-out program of corona from an exterior body to Clarence's Council forced 2 people in Clarence's realm to commit suicide, or at least was a heavy factor in bringing the pressure and compacting it. So to me, I'm very against this corona madness, where I believe it is, yes, but the virus itself has played no part in my life for 2 years now, almost, since coming about. So that is, I'm already in my realm, which I should be allowed to manage myself. That is not even, I'm not even turning on the warning light for that. There's nothing to worry about in the slightest, as I believe it never really was for most people. But it seems to have been that other people have allowed phantoms into their realm, and they have been, somebody has told them that their house is haunted, and they believed them. Despite the fact that they would know their own house better than anyone, they believed the mysterious salesman who turned up in the night and told them your house is haunted, so now your house is devalued. And then they said to them, oh, but we can cure your house is haunted, but if we come in here and spray this super ghost vanishing vaccine powder, then your house will no longer be haunted again. And these people have been like queuing up to get their houses sprayed by these travelling snake oil men with their ghost trapping spray. Anyway, let people be people, whatever, that is not the problem. But now it turns out you are not allowed to have a haunted house. And I say, that's fine. When a ghost turns up in my house, I will report it straight away, and you send the boys around to put the naughty nocturnal supernatural, put it away. Fine. They say, no, Clarence, we've got to come around and put the ghost away. And I say, well, there is no ghost. In my realm, in my house, we have no ghosts here. You have your ghosty problems, keep it to yourself. No, we have to come around and spray you. I do not want you coming into my house, my property, to spray it with your chemicals for the ghost which isn't here. I don't know who you are, travelling snake gypsy. They say, Clarence, almost all of your neighbourhood has been sprayed with the chemicals to get rid of the supernatural beasties which are in your house. Your neighbour says he's very concerned. I said, I have known my neighbour Derek Von Ver since the year 1977. I've had Christmas in that house with Derek Von Ver. There are no ghosts in his house. If Derek Von Ver has had you in there spraying your anti-supernatural chemicals into his house and queued up for it, then Derek Von Ver is the same idiot I beat at Trivial Pursuit year in, year out. But Clarence has no phantom, so please, sell your stuff elsewhere. I am all up for capitalism. Sell your bullshit to some other idiot who's willing to buy it, but leave me alone. I say, that's not good enough, Clarence. Your neighbours, Clarence, are now getting it. They say, we have rid our street of all the ghoulies. I say, what ghoulies in the street? I've lived here for years. There's no ghoulies. They say, oh, your neighbours think there's ghoulies. I say, my neighbours think there's ghoulies? I can't comment on their particular houses. I know. The earth has been here for many billions of years. There may be ghoulies here. It's hardly our problem. Have these ghoulies been causing any significant problems to the residents of these domiciles? They're all still well and healthy, yes? Nobody's had any personal interaction with the ghoulies, no. But they still had you in to spray your ghoulie-killing, supernatural-busting chemicals. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's their choice. I don't want any. Besides, what is in your ghoulie spray? And they say, well, we can't tell you that, sir. The ghoulie spray stopped. I want to know what's in your ghoulie spray. If you're going to come in my house to spray for the ghoulies, which I don't even believe are in here, which I know aren't in here because, quite frankly, you have no experience of living my life and in my realm, so you don't know. You're interfering and you're trespassing and stepping way over the line. But if I was to let you in here, what guarantees have you got that your spray for capturing these ghoulies, who, if indeed I had these ghoulies, I might decide I don't mind them living with me. They might have been here before me, and I might like them living here. If you were to come and kill and murder these already dead people, just strip the skin off man a second time, like the Soviets, what is in your chemicals? So I can put it on the list of the house when I rent it. I can put it on the list what's happened. You will not away. Okay. Maybe I let you in. Okay, maybe I do. Maybe I hear a creak in my face. What insurance can you give me? None. Okay, no insurance. So if you spray these chemicals and they ruin my paintwork, you will not repaint my house. No. That seems a bit odd. So if you spray these chemicals here and they actually make me ill because they're dangerous, they after all they already killed the killed, can I get some medical? No. In fact, I have to sign something saying there will be no comeuppance against you. So I got to get you into my house to kill out a fucking ghost, which I don't believe lives here, using your dangerous chemicals, which you will take no responsibility for, and if I happen to get ill or they ruin my paintwork, you will pay me nothing. See, this is not a good deal you're offering me on any level, so I should decline. And that's what I would have said. And I would have thought that would have been okay, but it's not okay. Now they say, okay, Clarence, you decline, it is your choice. But just because you have ghosts, I don't have ghosts. Because you cannot declare that your house has no ghosts, you will no longer be able to have Amazon deliver your shopping or have takeaway food come to your house. Milk will not be delivered. Also, you will be able to have your gas and your electric, but unfortunately, we cannot allow an electrician or a boilerman to come around to look at the gear until you are phantom-free. So I can't have electric, can I? Because the guy can't fix it, because the house is full of ghoulies, which are phantoms, which don't exist, which are decorations, or what that. Okay, so it seems to me that you are cutting me off from society based on a phantom, which may or may not exist, but it definitely doesn't exist for Clarence in Clarence's realm. So in my personal realm, you're treating me, because some other people may have ghosts in another realm, on, quite frankly, the other side of the universe, for all it matters, I am now, because I will not fall to these measures, I will have my rights removed, and my power and ability to live. How about, why? But, I thought I was a private individual. Well, surely a private individual will be treated in a private way on an individual basis. If there is indeed a ghoulie problem, we deal with it. If there isn't, we carry on. Why were you hitting everybody with the same stick, should I say? So you're hitting everybody with the same measures, and those who can't comply will be left behind. So this is what you were saying, is that those who do not fit through the sort of prerequisite hope to jump through, as you made it, will be left behind from society. Yes. And when these people are left behind from the society, yes, because they can't jump through the hoop, because they see no need to jump through the hoop, because there's nothing wrong with where they are. They don't, to jump through a hoop when life is fine where you are would be madness. To break something which is already working to see what it is craziness, according to one of my favourite writers, Tolkien, and many people would agree with that, the rational thought. If I do not jump through your hoop, I will be cut off and left to perish. And if my perishment, I imagine you believe my perishment is to be a certainty, just a case of time, I imagine you probably would want my house. But you wouldn't want to wait for it, would you? No, I doubt you'd want to wait for my house, no. So you'll probably come sweep me up with, I know, sir, those chemicals you use for getting rid of the phantoms. Perhaps you have chemicals for getting rid of the people and turning them into phantoms, and then getting rid of them. No, Clarence, we have not that. Well, I'd have that. If my policy was to get everyone to jump through a hoop to do what I wanted to do, and some people didn't, Clarence, as a smart man doing it, he would have to clean up the people left behind, for the people left behind would it'd make it very hard for you to carry on convincing the people you got to jump through the hoop that they did the right thing. You do not want me talking to Mr. Vander, my neighbour, and saying, hey man, it's Christmas in 2023. How's it all going with the phantom sprays? How is it all that? And him going, well, Clarence, it is nothing different. They came and sprayed the phantoms. There were never any phantoms before, Clarence, and now there's no phantoms. And they have to come back once a year, they say, to spray it for €1,000. And there's still no phantoms. I say, that's funny. Because I have no phantoms neither. And I don't have to pay €1,000 a year to get the spray. Because I said no. And he's going to go, maybe there are no phantoms. And I go, look at him, I told you. I told you I was a smarter man, Mr. Vanderbilt. And you go, you're right, Clarence. This is a fucking con. And then he tells his neighbours and they tell their neighbours. And it all started because Clarence didn't play along with the foolish string in his first place. You're not going to allow that to happen, are you? So my choice is, if I don't jump through your hoop, within the next year or two, before I have that Christmas Eve with Mr. Vanderbilt, you are going to stop me being able to talk to him. So you will separate us up. Because we would not let you into our private realms because you told us that there was a ghost in it, which we know very well there is no ghost in it because it's our private dwelling and has been for years. But I didn't want to pay you or have you put the chemicals in here to remove the phantom, which was a phantom in your mind. So if I don't do that, you are basically going to remove me from society by first excluding me from, I don't know, services by saying it is too dangerous for these people to visit my house because of the phantom which isn't there. They can't be sure. We can't deliver you a pizza because we ain't sure you ain't got the phantom there who's going to kill our delivery boy. Not that this has ever happened on human fucking record, ever. So I will be then left behind. And I say, Clarence, you can't stay there anymore. We need the house. Populations for people. And I say, it's my house. And they go, it was your house, Clarence, but due to environmental laws which we brought in now to protect the world from phantoms, yours is now a ghost, supernatural, hellmouth hotspot. We have to send Buffy the Vampire Slayer down here if you don't get out. So we have to say that you yourself are a harbinger of hellmouths. You're in line with Dracula, and we will have to remove you and send you to a nicer place to live. You want to live with the hellmouth people? We send you to hell. And they send me to a prison camp or a gulag. based on something I imagined of the Soviet nature, something like Solzhenitsyn would have written about, which Clarence had read and read and understand. And he thinks Clarence maybe thinks that maybe many of the people around the world have not read that great work, which was the warning letter to society about how the stuff will be stolen from them and how you end up in a camp unless you fall in line. Now let me add, if I fell in line and jumped through that hoop, I'm only going to have to jump through the next hoop. And those hoops, I can tell you this right now, those hoops, they will get smaller and smaller and smaller, until eventually they'll say stuff like, well, we got the phantom out of your house, but we believe that the phantoms quite often inhibit the soul too. You are now inhabited with a phantom in your soul, sir. We must spray these chemicals into your body to remove the ghostly spirits from your soul. And these people will go, oh, I didn't know. That definitely must be where the ghost is hiding, because he's not in the house. He must be in me. So pop those chemicals into me and kill the fucking ghost of my soul. And then that'll be that. Eventually, you'll have a lot of people who have had the spirits of the world completely vaccinated out of them, and they'll be left as just little people whose lives are so undecorated with creativity or wonder or beauty or love or anything that they will be small enough. These living creatures will be small enough to fit through the said tiny little hole the size of possibly I don't know. The hole as an Easter egg sits in the cardboard cutout, or eventually, I mean, they would love it if it was the hole of the sort of size of a Coke can, that sort of circumference, and that is what you'll eventually head for. So there, but eventually you'll find that none of the human people will fit through the hole. The hoop that you have to jump through to get to the next level will be so small that nobody makes it. And they say, well, this is okay, we have no people fitting through the hole anymore. None. But really, we don't need these people anymore. We have this technology these days. We made technology which can get rid of ghosts. Ha! We'll just use the technology which we've been using. We don't need lawyers and judges if we are all above the law. We won't need police people if we are all above the law. We don't need to have any of this health and doctors because we are perfectly healthy now these days. We all just fix each other. In fact, we have no need for society of the amount of people anymore at all. And we have machines to run the farms, and we have enough food. And that, why? Why would we bother saving any lives? We never were anyway. Charles, what Clarence is trying to say is, the first hoop may be really simple for you to jump through. Just have a little spray in your house. But the hoops, they ain't going to get bigger, and they ain't going to allow you to jump back through the hoop. See, every time you go through the hoop closes. It only needs to be passed through once. The next hoop, no matter what other hoop, you can't unpass a hoop. For going through a hoop is passing through a hoop. You can't rewind time. So everybody is jumping through the hoops now by getting their houses de-supernaturalized, and then potentially going through the next hoop to get their bodies de-supernaturalized. They will get to a point where you don't fit through that hoop, and if you don't fit through that hoop, you'll be back here with Clarence, waiting to be swept up, or at least silenced, or put away somewhere where you can't tell people that the hoop jumping is a bad idea. So that is why Clarence finds it very dark and sinister, this thing. But of course, that is just a story. What they're really trying to do at the moment is say, if you cannot present to us a status of being that is what we require, you will not be longer welcome in many services. This is socialization and apartheid, essentially, and it is also what the National Socialists did in Germany, which I was disgusted with. They did it on the basis of, if you cannot prove that you are not Jewish, you cannot come here, do this, or do that. If you're stopped in the street on a bicycle on Tuesday and you can't prove that you are not Jewish, you will be arrested. That is hardly a nice way for a human to treat another human. In those days, it was based on the idea that the Jew was the problem. Well, was the Jew the problem or not? Doesn't really matter. In those days, the Jewish community had no country. You could start a war with the Jews and be quite certain they had no army or nation to fight back at you with. They're essentially a phantom race living amongst people who you could blame everything on, but have nowhere to really fire your bombs at, or they'd have nowhere to really launch an attack from, since they were a race of people living amongst other races. They had no homeland. They essentially were a spirit person floating amongst other landed people, much like a phantom in a house. Very easy target to blame everything on, and a very easy thing to say, these are a danger to you landed people's society. But these days we can't say Jew, because that one's been done already. And anyway, we don't do that. We don't do that to other races anymore, do we? We're not racist. No, there's big movements that say we're not racist. But what we haven't done for many years is say that these people who are ill are a threat. Now, who can argue with that? I mean, obviously, to people like Clarence, everybody understands that a person's relationship to death is their own choosing. Their own health is their own realm. But maybe there's enough of us who aren't really any more spiritually very strong. We have all formed to some sort of unified, monotone existence where you say, death is very scary. You're all going to die. Now, as human beings, we know we're going to die, but we have the pleasantry to not remind each other of it all the time. Because that's the decent thing to do when one tries to exist and live in the day. You do not remind everyone of the futility of it. But if the powers that be decide to start reminding people every day that they are going to die and that there's something in the air which is going to do it probably at an inappropriate moment, people start getting worried if they are of weak mind. And it's not their fault that they are weak mind. Human beings are, after all, just mammal creatures of this earth. We can't all have mental sustenance. We cannot. It is of those who are stronger will to care for these other people, not to exploit them against the will. So we create fear, and we get people to play along. People get terrified, and they think, well, the government looks after us. They think that. Why? Sadly, because they have never read a goddamn book about government or really understand what the government is or any history ever in their lives, and they just accept it for what it is because their mummy and daddy accepted it. They don't really question it or think about it, for thinking is not what we do these days. We have computer games and the TikTok and all this, so people don't sit with a candle and think. Not for 1 minute. But if they did, they would see this as clear to Dave Clarence and some of his friends who think do. Actually, more people than you would imagine see it for as clear as it is. But we are not allowed to talk about it in public. Because you people I should be looking after, but you make it very hard for me to look after you, and you're so adamant to call me the killer. I have no coronavirus, I never have had it, there is no real threat from a virus of corona. No more than there has ever been any year, ever. If I look in the toilet every day for 12 hours, I will soon piss and shit. It's not an epidemic of piss and shit. That piss and shit is as much piss and shit in that toilet as there always is. If we all go down and live in the sewers, we will complain that it's piss and shit as far as our lives, but we don't spend our time living in the sewers. But that's what we've done for the last year. We've decided to live in the sewers and then base decisions upon what we find there, rather than looking up at the sky and the beauty of the sky. People are not threats to people. Illness travels between people. We are not in control of this. We are not. We cannot be. You cannot live your life worrying if you are going to infect someone, or staying away from people worrying if they can infect you, unless of course there is a real direct threat, which of course there hasn't been, because if there was, then a hell of a lot more corpses would be piled up. And a hell of a lot more people would be like, not like that. I said at the beginning, in my realm, 2 people I think have had the coronavirus and they got through it like flu. That is it. I know a lot of people. There's something to be as dangerous, but we take measures beyond World War II even, without a bomb flying. I would have expected, sadly, 50% of people I know to have died. And even then, should we extinguish the other 50% through measures? No. So we are way past the virus. If you still believe that this is a virus, then there's never going to be anything to convince you that that wasn't the problem. Hopefully you've woken up to the fact that that might have been just a bit of a Trojan horse on which to slap the back of some of the most damaging, freedom-crippling legislation which will ever happen in our lifetimes. To mandate that people have to have a application or a piece of technology that many can't even afford, which excludes people to start with, not only do you have to have vaccination, that's not good enough. The government does not trust you if you've been vaccinated. They don't care if you have or you haven't, quite frankly. What they want you to have is the app. The vaccination is only a means to get to the app stage. Once you have the app in your smartphone and a QR code, you can then register. And once you are registered, you can then access restaurants. And you can then be watched. But it's a separate matter to vaccination. For the current criteria is this. You need to prove, using their app and their code, that you do not have... Actually, it doesn't prove you don't have COVID. It just proves you've been vaccinated. It doesn't actually protect against, imagined or not, spreading of the virus. It just shows the government that you are compliant with their measures. You are willing to say, I have done everything that you have asked around COVID-19 so that I can come and enjoy this wonderful pizza at Pizza Express and watch the latest woke movie with my buddies. We are good, consenting citizens. And it's based around, at the moment, have you been vaccinated? Have you taken your own seriously? Even if it is an honest program, which it is not, it doesn't work for what it says it should do. But it does not say your status as in carrying the disease or illness. It just tells them that you have done what they want. So, Cash will not do that, because that tool of having to present a certain status in order to gain rights at the exclusion of those who are not willing to do it for whatever reason, religious, mental ability. Some people don't have the mental ability to do this. Why should you have to go through the rigmarole just to go eat a meal? That is only one hand of it. The other hand of this horror is that now private businesses and restaurants, cinemas, cafes, are now being dictated to who they can and who they can't do business with. A family potentially could be arrested and lose their license for selling a meal to, say, a group of the son or daughter's friends on a birthday at the family restaurant. Because that son or daughter does not want to throw in the past. A mom and pop shop cannot feed their sons in their own business. A hairdresser potentially cannot cut her own daughter's hair, or her own mother's hair, and breaking the law. Essentially, businesses are being told you are not allowed to offer your services to people who have not signed or shown their obedience to the government. is about merely a vaccine. I would say, government, why do you not trust your people who have taken a medicine for a life-threatening illness? Surely, if you were honest, you would know that they know, and they would have taken the vaccine because they would have wanted to live. But you know that there are reasons why they wouldn't have done it. Thus, you make them prove their loyalty to you. I say this is ass backwards. I say in a time of crisis when all eyes are on the government, the servants of the people, who receive their income generously from the people of the country through taxes, I say it is this hour where it is for you to demonstrate your honour and reliability, trustworthiness to us. We owe you nothing. You owe us everything. You're not in a position above us, you are in a position with us, at least. Do not ask me to show my allegiance to you in a time of crisis, when it is I who pay you to deal with the mucky side of life. I have no faith in any of you, but you should want my trust, if you are anything worth your position. But you are not. I will not trust that which does not openly trust me. The trust is two ways, and you have made your position clear. Eva Clarence, and I would like you to answer me this question. Eva Clarence is a free and private individual, at which this is a huge overstep into a realm of many peoples where you are not welcome, wanted, or required. An invasion, followed by somewhat of an attempted occupation. Or I ask you directly to answer with all truth, who is my master? For I have many questions. That is Clarence, on the 4th of October 2021. Praying for the world, and hoping it shan't come to bombs. Because bombs mangle lives. And our lives matter.